I found out because he forgot to change the font. That's it. Not a dramatic email leak, not a confrontation in a glass office. Just a stupid detail. Calibri instead of the Arial I always use in my reports. I remember staring at the slide deck during the Monday meeting, my stomach slowly folding into itself as he clicked through my ideas like they had always belonged to him. For context, I've worked at this company for almost a decade. Stable job, decent salary, a wife who thinks I'm reliable if not exciting, a daughter who still asks me to read to her at night. Life was fine. Predictable. Safe. And then there was Daniel. He joined our team about a year ago. Younger, sharper, charismatic in that effortless way that makes people trust you too quickly. I was the one assigned to onboard him. I showed him everything, processes, internal tools, even the shortcuts I'd built over years. I thought I was helping a colleague. Turns out, I was training my replacement. At first, I liked him. Daniel asked good questions, listened carefully, even took notes when I explained things. He'd say things like, "I don't know how you keep all this straight." And I'd laugh it off, secretly pleased. I've never been the flashy type at work. I don't dominate meetings or sell myself well. I just do the job. Quietly. Consistently. Daniel was different. He had energy. Confidence. He'd speak up in meetings, sometimes repeating points I had made earlier, but louder, more polished. I noticed it, but I didn't think much of it. Good, someone's finally saying it clearly, I told myself. Looking back, that was the first red flag. The second was when he started asking for my drafts. Just to learn how I structure things. I sent them without hesitation. Why wouldn't I? We even started grabbing coffee together. Talking about life. He told me about his recent breakup. I told him about my daughter's school play. It felt normal. I trusted him. The shift was subtle. He started getting invited to meetings I wasn't included in. At first, I assumed it was just scheduling. Then it kept happening. "Hey, can you send me your notes from last week's analysis?" he'd ask casually. I would. Then I'd hear later that he had presented some interesting insights to management. Insights that sounded familiar. I remember joking about it once. "Careful, you're going to make me obsolete," I said, half smiling. He laughed. "Come on, you're the brain behind all this." I wanted to believe that. But something started to itch at the back of my mind. Then came the first real moment of doubt. I walked past the conference room one afternoon and saw him inside, presenting to our director. Slides on the screen. My slides. I didn't go in. I just stood there for a second, frozen, then kept walking like I hadn't seen anything. I told myself I was overreacting. I wasn't. The font incident happened about 2 weeks later. Big quarterly strategy meeting. Senior management, department heads, the kind of meeting where careers quietly shift. Daniel was leading the presentation. That alone felt off, but I convinced myself maybe he'd been assigned the role. It happens. Then he started talking. And I knew. Not just the ideas, the phrasing, the structure, the exact examples I had written in my personal notes. And then I saw it. A slide I had drafted late one night at home, after my daughter had gone to sleep. I remembered agonizing over the wording. It was there. Word for word. In Calibri. I don't use Calibri. My hands went cold. I didn't say anything during the meeting. I couldn't. It felt like trying to scream underwater. Everyone was nodding. Impressed. "Great work, Daniel," our director said. I just sat there. Clapping. After the meeting, he slapped me on the shoulder. "Good stuff, right?" he said. I stared at him, trying to process the audacity. "That was my work," I said quietly. He didn't even flinch. "We're a team," he replied. "It's all shared, isn't it?" That answer hit harder than if he'd denied it. Because it wasn't confusion. It was intentional. "I didn't agree to that," I said. he sighed, like I was being difficult. Look, you're not great at presenting. You know that. I'm just helping get your ideas noticed. Helping. I actually felt my face burn with something between anger and humiliation. You didn't even mention me. He shrugged. It's implied. It wasn't. And we both knew it. I went home that night and didn't tell my wife. She was talking about school schedules, grocery lists, normal life things. I just nodded, barely hearing her. Inside, I was replaying the meeting over and over. The smiles. The compliments. The way Daniel stood there like he had built everything himself. I kept thinking, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe this is just how corporate teamwork works. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. I had spent years building trust, credibility. And in a few weeks, he had stepped into that space wearing my work like a borrowed suit. I barely slept. At 2 a.m., I opened my laptop and started comparing files. Timestamps. Versions. Edits. It was all there. My drafts. His versions. Slight tweaks, but unmistakably mine. That's when the doubt turned into something heavier. Not just suspicion. Proof. The next morning, I decided I'd confront him properly. Not casually. Not in passing. I asked him to step into a meeting room. Close the door. I have the drafts, I said. All of them. You've been using my work and presenting it as your own. He leaned back in his chair, surprisingly calm. You're being dramatic. I almost laughed at that. I'm being accurate. He rubbed his temples like I was giving him a headache. Look, this is how things work. Visibility matters. You don't put yourself out there, so someone has to. By stealing? I snapped. By executing, he corrected. The way he said it, so confident, so dismissive, made me question myself for a split second. That's the worst part. He made me feel like I was the one misunderstanding the situation. I escalated it. I went to our manager with everything: documents, timelines, comparisons. I expected, I don't know, shock? Concern? Action? Instead, I got a careful, measured response. This is a complex situation, she said. Complex. I sat there, trying to understand how something so obvious could be reframed as complicated. Daniel has been delivering strong results, she continued. I felt something crack inside me. So have I said. She nodded. Yes, but he's been more visible. There it was again. Visibility. Like my work only counted if someone louder presented it. We'll look into it, she added. But her tone told me everything. This wasn't going to be a clean resolution. Things got colder after that. Daniel stopped being friendly. No more coffee chats. No more casual conversations. Instead, he became careful. Strategic. He started excluding me from communications. Looping in others. Positioning himself as the primary contact for projects I had initiated. It was like watching someone slowly erase you. Colleagues started going to him directly. Daniel mentioned you were working on this, they'd say. Not leading. Working. Under him. I tried to correct it, but it felt awkward, defensive. Petty even. And that's how it happens. You start second-guessing your own reality because pushing back makes you look insecure. Meanwhile, he just kept moving forward. Confident. Untouched. At home, I started changing too. I was quieter. More irritable. My wife noticed. Is everything okay at work? She asked one night. I almost told her. But something stopped me. Shame, maybe? How do you explain that you let someone walk all over you? That you gave them the tools to do it? I'm just tired, I said. That became my default answer. Meanwhile, I started withdrawing, from her, from my daughter. The breaking point came during performance reviews. I had been expecting a solid evaluation. Maybe even a promotion discussion. Instead, I got lukewarm feedback. Strong technical skills, but needs to improve visibility and leadership presence. I felt like I was reading someone else's review. Daniel, on the other hand, my manager added, has shown exceptional initiative. I almost laughed. Initiative. That's what we were calling it now. I left the meeting feeling hollow. Years of work reduced to a footnote. And the person who built on it, praised. I confronted him one last time. Not in a meeting room. Just in the hallway. Was it worth it? I asked. He looked genuinely confused. What? All of this. He paused, then shrugged. That's how you move up. No guilt. No hesitation. Just a different set of rules. I trusted you, I said. He gave me a look I still can't fully interpret. That was your mistake. That sentence stayed with me. Still does. I eventually transferred to another department. Not because things were resolved, but because staying felt unbearable. Officially, it was a new opportunity. Unofficially, it was an exit. Daniel stayed. He got promoted a few months later. I heard about it through internal announcements. Everyone congratulated him. I didn't. I just closed the email and sat there for a long time. It's been over a year now. I'm still at the company, but something changed in me. I don't share as much. I don't trust as easily. I document everything. Every idea. Every draft. Every conversation. Not out of paranoia, at least that's what I tell myself. But because I learned what happens when you assume people operate the same way you do. At home, things are better. I eventually told my wife. She was angrier than I was. Why didn't you fight harder? She asked. I didn't have a good answer. Maybe I still don't. I keep thinking about that font. Such a small detail. If he had changed it, maybe I would have doubted myself longer. Maybe I would have convinced myself it was coincidence. But he didn't. And that tiny oversight exposed everything. I don't know if there's a clean lesson here. People will tell you to be more assertive, more visible, more protective. They're probably right. But part of me still hates that those are the rules. That doing good work isn't enough. That trust can be used against you so easily. I still work. I still show up. I still do the job. But something fundamental shifted. I don't believe in we're a team the same way anymore. Now, every time someone asks for my draft, just to learn, I hesitate. And I remember.